Greetings, everybody. It's Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving here in 2024. Hope all your friends, family, and relatives had a great, awesome feast. Hey, check it out. We're going to the museum. Oh, man. My computer museum is lacking my favorite gaming console of all time from back in 1982. Can you guess what it is? Well, you're about to find out. All this and more on Dr. Crasher. It was the 1980s, the realm of the early arcade games. Our parents would drop us off at the mall with pockets full of quarters, and we would go to the movie theaters or the arcade places to visit our friends, to say hi, and most of all, to play some awesome video games. One of the things that hit the early 1980s was a phenomenon called Pac-Man. This arcade game became a national sensation, starting off things such as Pac-Man Fever. This thing was the absolute bomb. Everybody wanted to play this damn game. You wouldn't think that it would cost very much putting a quarter into these machines here and there. But believe me, in one night, you could easily spend $10, $20, $30. And that racked up to a hell of a bill, let me tell you. Besides, anyways, we had school nights, and we only had access to these awesome arcade machines on the weekends. So, great companies like Atari came out with the Atari 2600, the VCS. These little units, we could go and play our own games at our home during our own time, and they were awesome. The only thing that wasn't awesome was the conversions from the arcades to our home games. Check this out. Aw, man, what a scam. These games didn't even look like the games at the arcades, and they were pathetic. Fortunately, there was other gaming consoles that was coming down the street, such as Intellivision, which was an awesome system, and there was the amazing ColecoVision. But I didn't want these systems. I wanted Atari to come out with an awesome gaming system. And you know what? My prayers were answered. Introducing the Atari 5200, my favorite gaming system of all time. Not only did it have awesome games, awesome graphics, awesome sound, it was also 2600 compatible, so I could play all my old Atari games on it. Check out what this thing can do. Dudes, this thing was the mad shit back in its day. It was the closest thing we had to the arcades. It was the best one of them all. Even though some people would fight me and say that ColecoVision was the best, it's debatable. They're probably about the same. However, as time went on, I went through education and college, and I went through the career. Something happened to this. I probably sold it, gave it away, or did something. But as things go, nostalgia sometimes kicks in, and I decided that, hey, I want my damn 5200 back. And that's exactly what I did. I set off to get it back. So I got onto eBay, my favorite place to shop in the whole wide world. I found me my Atari 5200, went ahead and ordered it, and had the thing shipped to me. As soon as it arrived, I opened up the box, and I found that the material that was used to have it shipped was absolutely crap. It was not shipped properly. And for doing that, it was broken into many, many pieces, parts of it. And I was absolutely upset. So I contacted the seller and I talked to him and I said, look, we need to make this good. Seller agreed. And I got the damn thing for $50. So now all I've got to do is just plug it in and see if it works. This'll be fun. So I plugged the Atari 5200 into the flat screen monitor. The game comes up, but sure enough, the game is all fuzzy, it's blurry, it looks like total crap. I went ahead and tested out the joystick that comes with it. It doesn't work for the crap either. I went ahead and took a look at the switch box that comes with it, all the bundles of wires and the power supply and all this other kind of mess. Hell, I even opened the damn thing up to take a look at the logic board to see if maybe there was something I could do to try to fix this to make it where it doesn't have such a fuzzy screen. Good luck with that. And as for me, I don't want to go and spend extra money on trying to update this thing with original parts, because that's going to cost a little bit of money. And secondly, I don't really want to go and buy all these game cartridges that cost $20, $30 and above. Nah, I think I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and remake this thing. I'm going to rebuild this thing to whereas it has every damn Atari 5200 game that I wanted as a child but couldn't afford. In fact, I think I'm going to rebuild this thing to where it is the absolute most awesome arcade machine that I truly wanted back when I was a kid. This will be interesting. Here she is. Here's the Atari 5200. And before you say anything, yes, she's an absolute monster in size. Huge. Now the reason for this is because in the back, there's a little area that you can lift the lid up in and actually store the joysticks inside of the console. And she's not lightweight either. She's a little bit heavy, but she was absolutely amazing. A great concept back in its time. The system uses huge cartridges, very large cartridges, but compared to anything that we have nowadays. And she has a little bit of damage, but for the most part, I think this is damage that I can deal with, fix up, and create something much, much better. Her power supply, as you can see, is absolutely enormous. Good Lord, and heavy as a brick. Don't underestimate this thing. If you drop this on your shoe, you're going to have a foot ache. Also, she had some really awesome joysticks for back in the time. They didn't work very well, and there was a lot of complaints about them. But as for the looks, man, this thing was absolutely amazing. Now, back then, I didn't know any better, but that these were terrible joysticks. But I really liked them. I enjoyed them. They're analog joysticks, and they had a number pad on them and all the buttons. So, yeah, these joysticks, too bad that they don't make stuff like they used to. First things first, my girl here needs a bath. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn it upside down and begin the process of removing the screws. Second part, we'll go ahead and begin the process of removing the top cover of it to expose the logic board. As you can see, the logic board is quite huge. This thing, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, was actually an Atari 400 computer. Atari wanted to build a gaming system, and they didn't want to put in a bunch of expense and research and development. So they just decided to go and take their Atari 400 computer and basically recreate it into the Atari 5200. So what you're seeing here, this is an actual Atari 400 computer that they sold back in the 70s. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the logic board and reveal only the bottom and top plastic parts, which we'll then take to the bathroom and begin cleaning. Now becomes the cleaning phase. Well, such is life. At least this will look great after I'm done with it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is an Android TV gaming board, which we'll be using to replace the logic board inside the Atari 5200. She's very fast, very widely used throughout the industry for retro gaming. She comes with Wi-Fi, so the Atari 5200 can be sitting in another room and I'll be able to add or subtract games. She comes with USB ports, she comes with an Ethernet port, and she even comes with an SD card slot. So we'll be able to boot all these games automatically whenever we're wanting to play them. Watch, this is going to be fun. What I'm needing to do is replace the old logic board inside the Atari 5200 with some kind of new support or mounting board. And I think that this piece of plastic right here is going to do a great job of doing it. The theory is really easy. I'm going to take the old logic board, I'm going to put it on top of this plastic sheet that you see here. I'm going to go and measure the dimensions. I'm going to take a drill and drill in the pilot holes. I'm also going to cut it to proportion. I'm going to mount this piece of plastic into the Atari 5200. And on top of this piece of plastic, that's where I'm going to mount the Android TV box and plus cables and power stuff that we need, things to go and get this system working. One of the things I'm doing is adding LED lights to this system. That's going to really make it stand out and really pop, especially at nighttime. This thing is going to look absolutely amazing. And I think these LED strips that I'm putting inside of it is going to do the trick. It comes actually with a little remote control switch that I can make them flash, I can make it fade, I can make them change almost any color that I want. This thing is going to make this Atari really stand out. Even better than the old Atari 2600. The lights are going to be absolutely beautiful when this thing is done. Another good thing about this is that I'm replacing the old game ports with new USB ports. This right here will allow me to connect all kinds of variety of different game pads, joysticks, whatever, that the old system just could not take. Another great thing also is that this is going to be HDMI. No longer going to be using that old audio video crapola that's susceptible to interference. Now, with these USB ports and also with the HDMI cable, this thing should absolutely pop when we start playing games. I'll be installing a new switch and power connectors and transformers, everything in the inside of the Atari 5200. The old logic board that was in the 5200, the original one, used a giant power brick to power that sucker up with. Well, we're doing away with that because that's 40-year-old technology, and we just don't need that kind of crap anymore. Stuff doesn't have to be huge and power-consuming like it used to be long time ago. Nah, we'll just make this short, sweet, simple, easy, all built on the inside of the Atari. Our Android TV board is going to be using this to boot up, the micro SD card. These micro SD cards range in various sizes, anything from 16 gig to 32 gig, 64, 128, etc. These cards right here are what's going to be storing all of our games and also making everything bootable and operational. We're going to be using the Linux operating system on our Android TV board. And along with it, we're going to be using the emulation station along with EMU Elect, which is fantastic for being a front end of being able to play games from different consoles. Consoles like from Atari, ColecoVision, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PlayStation, Xbox, you name it. There are tons of different consoles that this baby will allow you to play their games with. It's very, very popular across the world, and it can install on almost virtually any kind of computer system or different kind of box that's out there. The EMU Elect system that we're needing is in the form of what's called an ISO file. That ISO file, we'll have to either download it from them or from GitHub or somewhere onto our computer. Once we go and get that file downloaded to our computer, we're going to need another piece of software called Balena Etcher. Balena Etcher will allow us to take the contents of that ISO file and have it transferred to our micro SD card in order to make it bootable and usable by our Android TV board. After we create our bootable micro SD card, one of the things we're going to have to do is find out the model number or the chipset numbers of our Android board. Once we've discovered this, we'll need to go to EMU Elect, download the proper files which supports that particular board, and then have it installed into the SD card. Once it's installed properly into the SD card, those files that is, we insert the SD card back into the Android board, apply power, it should boot up just fine and take us into EMU Elect. And EMU Elect will then go and take us into what's called a front end. The front end is where we will be able to see all the consoles that our system has installed on it, including the games belonging to those consoles. Now, I could spend an hour or hours explaining how this process is done, but the best thing to do is just simply go to YouTube if you're interested in doing this and finding out from there. There's tons of places on YouTube and other video sites of how to do this. It's simple, not necessarily easy, and it could take time to learn through trial and error. But believe me, there's tutorials out there that can teach you how to do this, and it's super easy once you get the hang of it. If you're ever wondering where to find games and get games for these consoles that you want to play, go back to my previous video that I created about modifying my Sega Genesis flashback. It's got everything in it that you need. It'll discuss here NordVPN, why you need it, and so forth. It's got the best downloader for torrents. It's got the search engines for torrents with a Pirate Bay. Awesome place, awesome site right there. It even goes over Internet Archive where you can find the games. You go over apps like download them all to get all the games you want. Go check out my freaking video that's over there previously that I made. You'll love it. It'll teach you everything. When it comes to copying games over to my Atari 5200, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to take that micro SD card, simply stick it into my laptop and copy the games to it from there. Nah, it doesn't work that way. You see, the SD card that is going into the Atari 5200 has been written under a Linux operating system, and it uses a Linux file system, which is not compatible with my Windows 10 laptop, nor yours, and is probably not even compatible with OS. So, there is the problem. Now, it can't copy the files. However, there is a solution around it, and that's through Wi-Fi. Now, if you want to know how to go and copy files from your computer to a gaming system like this that's using Linux, Batocera, whether it be EMU, ELEC, whatever, and you're wanting to know how to do it through Wi-Fi, there's plenty of great videos that's over there on YouTube that you can watch and find out. It's not really hard to go and guess. But as for me, the way that I'm going to have to go and copy games to and from, or delete, or add, or whatever, is going to have to be through a Wi-Fi system that attaches to the Atari 5200 from my laptop. It's all going to have to be remote. The process is really simple. Once I go and I get the Atari 5200 booted up and running, it's going to display some kind of a screen. It's actually going to be displaying the front end. And I'll simply have to go into the settings menu, scroll on down, go down to Wi-Fi, set the Wi-Fi up to go and connect to my router, give it the username, password, the keys, all that kind of crap right there. And voila, I can come over here to my Windows 10, map a frickin' drive to it, a drive letter to that share, and then voila, I've got access to the file system. And within this file system, there's tons of folders in here that's got all the names of the gaming systems that's out there in the world that's known. And I can simply go and take my games and copy it straight into those folders. And then once I get that done, all I do is simply reboot the Atari 5200. Bada bing, bada boom, it recognizes the new game files that is there. It'll go ahead and put the consoles in place, get them fired up and get them where they're showing, and it'll also show all the games that are there for those systems. Of course, you'll have to scrape the art, graphics, artwork, and so forth for the games and stuff, and the videos, movies, pictures, whatever. But that's another thing. Do you remember the Atari joystick that I showed you earlier in this video? Well, it's getting replaced by these two babies. Actually, there's going to be 4 of them because the Atari 5200 could handle up to 4 joysticks. But these are the PS1, PS2 type joysticks that I found off of AliExpress. Ordered them in from China. They're wireless. They're great. Both of these right here connect up to a wireless little connection right here. And I can add up to 4 of them on my Atari 5200. This is going to be really easy and great. Great gameplay coming ahead. In the immortal words of Mario, here we go! Introducing the new Atari 5200. Containing every 5200 game in existence, HDMI, sound, what a beauty. Let's turn her on and take a look at her. Check it out. Oh yeah. Is that not pretty or what? Those LED lights I decided to put in really work. Hey, let's look at it at nighttime. Oh, would you look at that. This is where she really shines. Talk about amazing during nighttime play. This baby really glows, and I mean she is really bright. But talk about some kind of a game console that really sticks out. This really looks awesome. And with that remote control, I can change the colors on it. I can make it flash. I can make it fade in and out. It just looks so badass. Look at this thing. This is going to be so great. It's going to be able to have awesome, amazing digital sound. It's going to have awesome HDMI. It's going to be able to not only play every 5200 game in existence off of the SD card, It's going to be able to play a lot of other consoles that weren't even out during its time. Would you look at those lightings? That is so pretty. Man, I really outdid myself with this thing, I tell you. I thought I did a good job with the Atari 2600, but this one, nah. I think this one right here took the cake. The moment of truth. Let's turn her on. Here we go. All right. Give it a moment. And there it is. The EMU ELEC front-loading system. I love it. Just getting ready to go and take a look at the resolution of the monitor that it's attached to. See if we can get the best resolution. And then, of course, it's going to load up the system files and all the menu files for the games that's on it. Give it a little bit more time. There she is. The Atari 5200 in the middle of the menu, followed by to the left the 2600 and to the right the Atari 7800. Wow. 98 games I was able to get for this Atari 5200. And let me tell you, that's more than what it originally had. I think it has something like 69 games for it, but I had a little bit more games than that. So, yeah. Let's take a look at the menu. This menu is amazing. Folks, back in the 1980s, all we could do to tell if whether or not a game was good or not was to look at pictures in magazines or pictures on the boxes and look at the graphics and imagine whether or not it was good or not. With this system, all we do is go and scroll through the menu and it shows us little videos of each game that's inside of this. So we can look through here, look at the games, take a look at the gameplay a little bit. If it looks like something we're interested in playing, we just jump right on in and play it. If it doesn't really look like something that fancies us at the time, we just skip through the menu and look for something else. Isn't this amazing? I love it. Absolutely love it. You just scroll down, Robotron, Space Invaders, man. Every single Atari 5200 game that I wanted as a kid, all right here. Amazing. And you know what's really crazy? Let's check out the Atari 2600. The Atari 2600 was the killing bet for me. When I heard the Atari 5200 was actually compatible with the Atari 2600 games, I had just about flipped. And it wasn't quite that simple either. There was actually a plug-in cartridge that you had to plug into the top of the Atari 5200 and then plug the Atari 2600 cartridges on top of it. And that allowed your 5200 to play the 2600. But what was really good, like I said, man, it was able to play the best of both worlds. Man, this was the game changer for me. I loved it. I had a thrill with the 5200. It was everything I ever wanted when I got that thing. Absolutely amazing. And the same thing with the 2600 here. Go through the games, take a look at the videos. If the videos show something that you like, hey, choose it and play it. If not, go to another game that fits your fancy. Just absolutely amazing. Cakewalk, Canyon Bomber, Carnival, all the greats. Now, I'll tell you what I want to look at. The console that came after the 5200 was retired, the Atari 7800. Haha, this should be amazing. And it comes with 67 games for the 7800 also. Let's take a look at these games. Look at this. The Atari 7800 actually had pretty great sound. It had better graphics, better gameplay than the 5200. And I never bought the 7800. I never purchased it because actually I'd moved on from the old gaming systems right here and went to the Commodore 64, which was a lot better than either one of these. But this right here, definitely a game changer. And look, it even had links. Oh man, let's go. Look at this. I got the old ColecoVision, which was the competition for the 5200. The old Vectrex system. Man, the TurboGrafx 16. I remember that one. This thing even has in it the Nintendo Entertainment System. Everybody loved the Nintendo. 1,241 games I've got so far on this. Man, awesome. The Game Boy at 1,440 games for the regular old original Game Boy I've got on this system. The the Super Nintendo NES. Amazing. The Game Boy Color. I love it. What's not to love about Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance? Everybody loved these. And you know, here's the SG-100 from the time of the Atari 2600, I believe. We have the Sega Master System, which a lot of people loved. I remember this. We have this Sega Genesis. Man, the Game Gear. People love the Game Gear. I've got some more Genesis on this thing. Let me tell you, 702 games here. We've also got the Sega 32X CDs. Yeah, this one's ready to rock. The Sega CD, which was absolutely amazing with 163 games on it. However, this one is the king of everything. Do you know what MAME is? Let me show you what MAME is. Check it out. Remember when I was telling you the story earlier about my moms and stuff taking us up to the mall and dropping us off to the arcades and also the movie theaters to play those games and drop the quarters into them? Well, guess what? Those games, the games that I love so much, and I wish the hell that my old consoles back then would play at home, that's it. These are the arcade games that were in those arcades and movie theaters at that time. This is the one that we dropped quarters in for to watch these. Altered Beast, oh my gosh, Alligator, Predator, good grief. This thing plays all the old arcade classics that I could have only dreamt of having back when I was a kid. And now, I've got them. Absolutely amazing. In fact, let's play a couple of them and take a look at some of those old arcade games that I used to love. Man, if I was a kid and had this, I would have died and gone to heaven. Amazing. Here we go. Let's take a look at a couple of them.
Get ready, get ready. Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready. Ouch!
The force will be with you.
Red 5 standing by.
Stay in attack formation.
I can't shake it! Look at the size of that thing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the video. You know, I just want to thank everyone out there for going and watching my videos and actually responding and talking to me online. I really appreciate that because I want to let you know that when I was a teenage kid, never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that I would have taken an old Atari 5200 and been able to mod it and remodify it to whereas it would be able to play every single 5200 game, every single 2600 game from Atari, plus modern games, and of course the arcade games. Wow. What a blessing to be able to live throughout life and be able to go and live an awesome dream like this, to be able to put something like this together and make it become a reality. Folks, I love all of you out there. You're wonderful. You're great. If you like these videos, please follow me, like me, subscribe me, all over the place, YouTube, other places. Y'all take care out there. Thank you for watching. Have a great one.